Coming up, the Rockies show off their skills on Sunday. This is Locked On Game to Game, MLB.
Every game, every team, every angle. Locked On Game to Game, your team every day.
Welcome in. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game MLB. Local experts join us to recap all of the action for you from yesterday across Major League Baseball. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Elly De La Cruz continues to impress in the early games of his career. This time he used his speed to help the Reds beat the Cardinals on Sunday. After Cincinnati pulled off a one-run win over St. Louis, Locked On hosts with both teams have the recap.
Everyone should have Elly De La Cruz on their team, but only the Reds have him. What's up? This is Jeff Carr from the Locked On Reds podcast, and Elly De La Cruz got on base 4 times in the series finale as the Reds win the series with the St. Louis Cardinals. Yeah, he had an opportunity to get on base a 5th time. Should we be worried that he didn't? No, I'm just kidding, because he has been phenomenal. Looks like he's already starting to make that adjustment to where he can just own Major League pitching, and he has been the huge catalyst here. The Reds win the series in St. Louis. First time since the Reds have beaten the Cardinals in St. Louis for a 3-game series since 2019, and it's all Elly De La Cruz. I don't understand how an opposing pitcher or an opposing fielder just operates whenever Elly De La Cruz is on base, because you make one mistake and dude's going to advance a base. He was the biggest reason that the Reds won this game, and he's the biggest reason they keep winning.
And in other news, water is wet. Hey, it's JD from Locked On Cardinals, and after a strong win on Friday night, the Cardinals reverted back to their frustrating losing ways on Saturday and Sunday, dropping the 3-game series to the Cincinnati Reds at Busch Stadium. On Sunday, it was more of the same stuff that we've seen most of the year. Adam Wainwright throws a pretty good game, but offensively, they can't move runners over. They can't hit with runners in scoring position. They can't execute on defense in crucial situations like the play at the plate with the infield in that allowed the game-winning run to score. The Cardinals are now 7-15 in one-run games this season and a mind-boggling 12 games under 500. And the worst part is they show no signs of improving whatsoever. They look like a dead team. For the latest updates and info, be sure to keep it Locked On Cardinals.
Rookie Zach Neto hit 2 home runs as part of the Angels' win over the Mariners. Locked On Angels has all the info from that win in Anaheim yesterday.
That's a 5-1 homestand for our Halos as they defeat the Mariners 9-4 on Sunday and take 2 out of 3 for the series win. What's going on, everybody? John Frisch, one half of Locked On Angels. Hey, we had Griffin Canning on the mound in this one. He had 5 innings pitched, 3 earned runs. Not his best outing. He was out pretty early with a high pitch count. However, the bullpen came in and helped keep it close. Zach Neto had his first multi-homer game of his young career. This guy is making a case for himself as Rookie of the Year, just making amazing plays at shortstop. Matt Thaiss had 3 RBIs in this one. Taylor Ward hit a home run. Shohei Ohtani had 3 hits. Just an all-around good game for the Halos, and it's great to get the victory in this one. They're headed to Texas to take on the Rangers for a 4-game set. It's going to be a tough one, but Mike and I are going to recap this Mariners series on Monday, and we hope you'll join us on Locked On Angels.
The Orioles put an exclamation point on their sweep of the Royals yesterday, scoring 11 runs in Baltimore. Locked On Orioles takes us through that big output on offense.
Walking through Baltimore after an Orioles victory and an Orioles sweep over the Royals. Connor Newcomb here, host of Locked On Orioles. O's win it 11-3 to complete the sweep of a bad Kansas City team. Get back on track, 4 wins in a row. And how about this Sunday win? I mean, it was awesome to be in the ballpark for that one. Gunnar Henderson is back. The slump is over. He is mashing the baseball. He is back. Aaron Hicks looks like an awesome pickup. And how about Ryan O'Hearn against his old team? Whatever the Orioles did to fix Ryan O'Hearn, it worked. He's got almost 1,000 OPS on this Orioles team right now. He's got the best stats on the O's if you take away some of the qualifiers. If Ryan Mountcastle is injured, sick, struggling, whatever it is, we could see a platoon between those two guys. But the O's get the sweep, get your brooms out, and I'll recap it all on Monday's episode of the Locked On Orioles podcast.
The Yankees could not score their free runner from second in the bottom of the 10th inning, and the Red Sox took 2 of 3 in the Bronx this weekend. Our Locked On hosts recap the series finale from New York.
This is Stacey Gotsoulias of Locked On Yankees, and the Yankees dropped the finale to the Boston Red Sox 3-2 in 10 innings on Sunday Night Baseball. This series was a rough one for the Yankees because when Aaron Judge is out, they can't score, apparently. Although Boston wasn't exactly world beaters in this series because in each game, the winning team only scored 3 runs. 3-2 on Friday, 3-1 on Saturday, 3-2 on Sunday. See a theme? I see a theme. So the Yankees need to figure out how to win without Aaron Judge because at the moment, we don't know when he's coming back from his toe injury, and the Yankees need other guys to step up. I'm looking at you, Anthony Rizzo, Gleyber Torres, DJ LeMahieu, Giancarlo Stanton, even you, Josh Donaldson. Anyway, we'll have everything you need to know about this game on the next Locked On Yankees, and Subway Series is coming up. What a week.
Coming up, the Blue Jays come back late to beat the Twins. This is Locked On Game to Game MLB. A championship team is about each player being a perfect fit. Same with your vehicles. So for the parts that fit, head to eBay Motors and look for the green check. Stay in the game with eBay Guaranteed Fit. ebaymotors.com. Let's ride. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Eligible items only. Exclusions do apply. Welcome back. You're listening to Locked On Game to Game MLB. I'm your host, Kainani Stevens. Shane Bieber threw 7 scoreless innings in a Guardians shutout of the Astros, bringing Cleveland to 3 games under 500, but less than 2 games off the lead in a very weak AL Central. Locked On hosts with both teams go over the Cleveland win to finish the weekend.
The outside Locked On Now may be becoming a Sunday tradition, especially if they keep winning and or tying series. Last 5 series, they are 4-0-1 for a team that struggled to win for a while there. Weekend against the Astros. Jose Abreu might have woke up, but really the story of today's game was going back in time. This was Shane Bieber of a year, maybe 2 years ago. We have not seen him miss bats like this in a very long time. Stefan and Clase also stepped up, 2 strikeouts each in their innings. It was just a solid day across the board as the Cleveland Guardians can take 2 out of 3 from the Houston Astros. 2 really solid pitching performances, and the offense was there all weekend. Things are looking up for the Cleveland Guardians after many of us, myself included, with our gloom and doom. Make sure you're checking out Locked On Guardians for a more in-depth take on a fantastic weekend.
Hey guys, H.M. Wheelhouse here with Locked On Astros, and on the 20th anniversary of the 6-pitcher no-hit game that the Astros threw in Yankee Stadium, the Astros celebrated in Cleveland with a loss. That's right, a 5-0 shutout by maybe future Astro pitcher Shane Bieber. The bats just could not get going. The much talked about lineup by Dusty Baker today, we discussed that on the show. We talk about Jose Abreu getting hot. We also discuss the Yordan Alvarez injury and how this is going to possibly affect the team as well. The Astros announcing they're going back to a 5-man rotation, sending Ronel Blanco back to the bullpen, which means Brandon Bielak will remain a starting pitcher in this rotation. So stay tuned in to Locked On Astros. We're your team every day. Win or lose, check us out. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Listen to us on your way to work or on your way home from work. Become an everydayer. And tell your friends about us, and as always, go Stros.
Cavan Biggio turned a loss into a win for the Blue Jays, hitting a 3-run home run in the 8th to give Toronto the runs it needed to steal a victory. Locked On Blue Jays recaps after an exciting finish.
Hello, friends. Craig Ballard, Locked On Blue Jays. It looked bleak for a while at Rogers Center Sunday afternoon, but the Blue Jays win a thriller 7-6 to salvage at least one game in this weekend series against the Minnesota Twins. Wow, how many games this season has Kevin Gausman kept the Toronto Blue Jays in the game with the offense being anemic? Well, today, complete opposite. How many games would a clutch hit late in the game have made the difference, only to have the Blue Jays come up short? Well, today, the complete opposite. Cavan Biggio had 1 hit in June, 2 today, and 2 of the biggest hits of the game. That 0-2 count that he battled, got that base hit, that single to start off the bottom of the 5th. That ended up being a 3-run rally that made a 6-1 Minnesota lead 6-4. And then, of course, the 3-run bomb on the 2-0 pitch, the game-winning hit in the bottom of the 8th. He was looking fastball on 2-0. He got fastball on 2-0, and he dealt with that fastball on 2-0. Nate Pearson used the strikeout today as a weapon, and somehow Jordan Romano held on for a scary 9th as the Blue Jays finished this homestand at 4-3. Join me tomorrow on Locked On Blue Jays for Monday's episode.
The first 6 Twins reached on the way to blitzing Kevin Gausman for 4 runs before recording an out in the first inning. But that was unfortunately pretty much the only highlight for the Twins as they blew 4-0 and 6-1 leads on the way to a 7-6 loss at Rogers Center. The Jays came into the late May series at Target Field, losers of 9 of 11 and won 2 of 3 in that series. Now this series, the Jays came in having won 7 of their last 8 and appeared primed to be swept. That's until Emilio Pagan came in and allowed the 7, 8, 9 hitters to reach, besides that being the number 9 hitter, Cavan Biggio, blasting a 2-0 fastball down the middle for a go-ahead homer. In case you were wondering, Biggio came in today hitting a $186, and then after that, Pagan retires 1, 2, 3, Springer, Bichette, and Vlad Jr. in a row. Cleveland won today, so the Twins go into Monday's off day with a 1.5 game lead with Milwaukee coming to town. And into today's stat that you haven't heard anywhere else, Willie Castro's steal was the 24th in a row for the Twins dating back to May 13 without being caught.
Shane McClanahan is the first pitcher to make it to 10 wins this season, throwing 7 innings in a Rays win over the Rangers on Sunday. Locked on Rangers tells us how McClanahan got the best of Texas.
Close, but no cigar in a battle of giants. The Rangers lose 7-3 to the Tampa Bay Rays, lose 2 out of 3 in a wild and fun series for the Rangers. I'm Bryce Patrick, host of the Locked On Rangers podcast. This was a tough one for the Rangers to lose. It was a 7-3 ball game, but the Rangers had the tying run at the plate in the top of the 9th inning. Ezekiel Duran grounded into a double play to end this one with the bases loaded. The Rangers got to the Rays starter Shane McClanahan, who was incredible in this one, absolutely incredible, but they got to him for 3 runs in the 3rd inning, a home run by Robbie Grossman, who also had a really great defensive play in this one. Marcus Semien driving in a run with a double, but the story of the game was Martin Perez just was not quite good enough. He got lit up for 7 runs, all the 7 runs in this one. Bullpen came in, did fantastic stuff. Leclerc, Grant Anderson, Yuri Rodriguez, all fantastic for the Rangers. Close, but not quite enough in a battle of giants for the Texas Rangers.
Hey, this is Kevin Weiss from the Locked On Rays podcast. The Tampa Bay Rays take down the Texas Rangers 7-3 in the rubber match of the series, and it was solid play all around for the Tampa Bay Rays. Shane McClanahan becomes the first big league pitcher to 10 wins this season after he went 7 innings strong, allowing 3 earned runs with 5 strikeouts. Meanwhile, Wander Franco hits his first home run since May 9th. Been over a month since he went yard, so maybe that's the start of something special for him as well. But the Rays get the series win and continue to have the best record in all of baseball, and should not be a surprise if they add a couple more wins to their resume this season as they go to the West Coast to play the Oakland Athletics.
The Cubs took a beating at the hands of the Giants yesterday with 2 homers from former Cubs, Jock Peterson leading the way. Locked on Cubs has more after that 10-run loss.
Cubs get dismantled in San Francisco on Sunday. The score was a lot to a little. The Cubs did win the prior 2 games to take the series. We're going for the sweep on Sunday, and it did not work out. Hayden Wisniewski was beat up by one guy, Jock Peterson, 2-run homers to account for all 4 runs that Hayden gave up before he left, and then I think an inherited runner scored. Cubs bats, same as normal. Tons of guys on base. Nobody could get the big hit. They were 0-for with runners in scoring position while the game was fairly close, and you combine those 2 things together, you get in trouble, and then the Cubs bullpen just let the game get away. So the Cubs lose. They finish the 10-game West Coast trip in 10 days, 4-6, and then will come home after a day off on Mondays. So tough way to finish the road trip.
That's it for this edition of Locked On Game to Game MLB. As always, we thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Make sure you're subscribed to Locked On MLB and your favorite team's Locked On podcast on YouTube and wherever else you get your podcasts from. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Game to Game.